Hey folks, in this video I wanted to go over a little something. A question was asked in the forums the other day. A user had created a form and they had so many students that they decided to split the students into alphabetical lists with all these different sections. So the form is broken into different sections and you select the last letter of your first name or the first letter of your last name. And then if you select an A, you come to the list of A's and B's and so forth. Well, that's fine, but it creates a data set. This is the form response page where it's broken out like this. So you collect the data and you then only have data in the one column. You can see ABC, and then I've added a few more over here. So the challenge was how to print this so that you could see the work for today. So the first thing I did was create a query where I'm just pulling in the data for today. And this would be my A names, B names, C names, and so forth. Um, After playing with this, it gave me an idea to actually turn this into a lunch count system. And I can talk about that in a different video. But today we just want to approach how to take a form that is set up like this, and when you get the data, how to summarize the data. So here's our data. It's kind of all over the place. Here's the data for today because they just want to look at today's data. And then what I did was on this sheet, I've written a formula that does exactly what they would want. This, again, I've added this idea of a lunch choice in here. But what this is doing is this is a formula that is a set of array literals. So I'm putting the headers, the date, the name, the lunch choice, teacher, the grade. All of this is created with this single formula. So I'm creating a set of data here, a set of headers, and then each one of the columns of data is created with a query. So this is just querying the data today, A column, and just pulling the data where it's not null, meaning I don't want empty rows included. And then, and I'm taking that data and I'm flattening it. So then the second virtual array is that query where I am taking a look at column C in the today part, and then actually C through O. And what that's doing, the flatten of C to O, if you take a look at that, that's this to this. And I'm flattening that data set so that I'll only get the names that have any data in them. And then that's creating the list of names. And then the third one is this, I'd added this lunch bar. What are they choosing for lunch? And so that's just flattening the data from P to P. When we look at today, column P is my lunch choice. So, and then on this sheet, I'm actually doing some analysis of that. But as you can see here, this one formula creates this. And then what I had done is taken all these students. So I have this list of students. I'd made up a bunch of names and grades and teachers using some rand arrays to create this list of people. And then I wrote queries here to just pull all my A students, all my B students, all my C students, D, and so forth with queries. So I have these columns that I'm working with in my students columns here. And then those I'm putting into the form. And in another video, I'm going to talk about how you can automate this process. So if you have a list of students and grades and teachers, we can actually automate this into getting it on the form. But what I'm doing then is taking this list that I have here. As you can see on this students list, I have students, grade, and teacher. I'm doing a VLOOKUP here, and you can see my fourth column is a VLOOKUP. So it's a VLOOKUP. I've added an if error in there. It's a VLOOKUP. And then I'm querying the data. When you look back on this sheet, I I had written this as one formula for these three columns, and then I had to separate this off as its own column, and then I realized that could all be included in a single formula here. The challenge was that when you looked at this formula B2B, B2B doesn't exist because B2B is created with this query. So instead of it VLOOKUP B2B, it's VLOOKUP this query right here that we had used to create that piece of it. So at the end, we were able to get collect data, look just at today, set it up so it can be printed. What I think the user was looking for was being able to print basically just this, and then I've added these other pieces. And then I took this idea and expanded it out so that I could actually create a dashboard and actually show lunch counts for a school, with the idea that every classroom might have a Chromebook. Students walk in, this might be applicable in elementary school. You walk in, you find your name, you say what lunch you have, and this is a live dashboard that the office would be completely up to date with. Just to show you that as an example, so you can see we have 2 salad bars for today. You can see that displayed out in different ways. If I were to come into my form and submit another response, I'll just choose a random name or letter. I'll go here, I'll choose Sheila Hammond, and she's going to have a salad bar and submit. And then we can immediately come back here and see that we now have 3 salad bars, 2 cold and 1 hot. And that's for today. Another thing that you can do if you are collecting this kind of data, you do want to see what you get for today, but I also set this up so you could go back to any other days. I want to see what things looked like on the 31st or maybe the 30th. I just had one. I think in playing around, I only have one other thing on the 23rd. So you can collect data, filter it off to the day, and find a way to print just, in this case, print just a list of students that are having their choices, whatever that might be. Maybe this is for taking attendance.